Dude, I keep seeing this even with the most respected editors I know. So please hear me out so you don't make the same mistake. And believe me, I've made this mistake so many times. Drum roll, please. Match your sequence with your footage. Match your footage with your sequence. Sounds boring, sounds technical, but some of you are going to be shaking your heads in denial by the end of this video. So I must admit my crime to the community. I assumed that people knew this, and I still put it in a tutorial. So what was my mistake? I showed people how to make a sequence preset.
That's going to make a new sequence, and I like using the preset RE 1080p at 29.97. That's what looks good online.
I should not have done this, and please don't do this. So I'm going to say this now. The only reason you would do this is if you are consistently shooting in the same settings every single time and editing your own stuff. That's likely when you want to make your own preset because you know what you're working with. I'm making this sound dramatic, but this is relatively an easy fix. The fundamental step here is to simply right-click and select New Sequence from Clip. Please get into that habit. Again, New Sequence from Clip. You want to do this when you're importing your A-roll footage into your timeline. Think of your A-roll footage, if you don't know, as your main footage. So here's what to grasp when you're working with your sequence settings. What's flexible is the aspect ratio. Have at it. Change what you want, vertical, whatever. What's not flexible is the frame rate. I'll say it again. The frame rate is not flexible. So in a perfect world, you or the team you're working with is shooting in the same frame rate the whole time for both A-roll and B-roll. Makes sense. It makes it super easy. But what I'm seeing more of is when we're receiving clips, we're actually mix matching the clips on mix match sequences. Some of my teammates ran into this issue recently. We had one editor editing the majority of the talk. Footage looked great. Everything was fine, but we had another teammate edit a trailer for the talk, and when we combined both of those, we noticed that the trailer footage was really choppy. Why is that? There is a mismatch. So in this scenario, the raw footage was shot in 4K at 24 frames per second. Okay? The footage didn't seem choppy when we received it, but it became really obvious when we put those two together because the talk itself was 24 frames. But the trailer, for some reason, was 30 frames. Do you see it now? Yes, the clips are mismatched, but the footage was always shot in 24 frames. So, if we put that 24 frames footage in a 30 frames per second sequence and export it, the footage has to compensate for those frames that don't exist, giving that choppy look. So, the easy fix here is to export the sequence in the same frame rate as the footage. But maybe you don't have that luxury for some reason. This brings us to maybe something you weren't aware of. Time interpolation. It comes in 3 forms when using Premiere Pro. Frame sampling, frame blending, and optical flow. Frame sampling duplicates frames. Frame blending makes small crossfades between frames. And optical flow creates new artificial frames. So, in our example, by default, Premiere is set to use frame sampling. So in this case, it makes sense why the footage was really choppy. The sequence was doing its best to fill in those frames. But many mess with these options when they are slowing down footage that was shot in something like 24 frames or 30 frames. Ideally, if we're going to have slow motion sections for action shots or whatever you're shooting, you're going to want to shoot the footage in a higher frame rate, something at least 60 frames per second. Now let's stop for a second. That makes sense. If we're going to slow down time, we need more information to work with. So if we're only capped at 24 frames or 30 frames, we want to have more so when we slow it down, it looks smoother, right? So if I need to slow down something at 30 frames, that's going to be 15 frames per second at 50%. Same thing. If I slow down 60 frames per second at 50%, that's 30 frames. It's going to look so much smoother. So if you're shooting slow-mo stuff, you want it to be in a higher frame rate. But if you're intending to slow things down and you're shooting it in 24 or 30 frames per second, you're going to be messing with these 3 options: frame blending, sampling, and optical flow. So what is to grasp from this? If you're paying attention, Make sure the majority of your footage is in the same frame rate as your sequence. All right. So here's one more thing I want to share with you. I'm not trying to dog on my teammate either, because this mistake is also being done by one of the largest companies in the world. Pardon the terrible recording quality. It's the best I found on the internet, but it was driving me nuts on Hulu and when I was at the gym because I kept seeing it. We are about to see 4 pieces of B-roll. Ignore the 4th. Focus on the first 3. All right, did you catch it? The mix of this stock footage doesn't match this sequence. I can't believe I found it in the wild. So, how can we tell? When the footage changes to this section, it looks a little bit choppy compared to the first and third section. So, if you're pulling stock footage from Free Pick or Artlist, Storyblocks, whatever you use, make sure to use those filters to match whatever frame rate your footage and sequence is in. But if you're desperate for one of these pieces of B-roll that you just have to have, and it's in a different frame rate, then you have time interpolation options to play with. So, the rule of thumb here is to match your footage's frame rate with your sequence. If you want to have a heart-to-heart, watch this next video because I think we need to put out some reminders for our fellow editors. I don't want yourself or your clients to be getting in trouble. I'll see you over there.